The bar was loud with laughter, glasses clinking, and the faint sound of old country music humming in the background, but the moment the front door slammed open, the atmosphere shifted. Two uniformed cops stepped inside, their eyes scanning the room like predators circling prey. At first, no one paid much attention, but at a corner table near the jukebox, two young women, identical twins with sharp features and confident postures, sat quietly nursing their drinks. They looked too calm for the storm that was brewing, but not everyone could see it. Only one man noticed the tension crackling in the air, Jack Lawson. A former combat veteran, single father of a teenage daughter, and a man who had seen too much of the world's cruelty to sit still when something felt wrong. His instincts kicked in when he saw the way those cops looked at the twins, not like public servants but like men with something dark in their intentions. Jack had been in war zones, but this was different. He was in civilian life now, just a father trying to raise his kid after losing his wife. He promised himself never to get dragged into trouble again. But as the cops started walking toward the girls, his promise broke. The bar's chatter hushed as the officers stopped by the twins' table. Their voices were low but sharp, laced with threats disguised as authority. Jack couldn't hear every word, but he caught enough. "You don't belong here, maybe you need to be taught a lesson." His hand tightened around his glass. Memories of his daughter's tears flashed through his mind, bullies at her school, men in power thinking they could intimidate the weak. He couldn't let this happen, not in front of him. Jack stood slowly, his tall frame casting a shadow across the room. "That's enough," he said firmly, his voice carrying the kind of authority only a veteran could. Every head turned toward him. The cops sneered, not expecting interference. "This is none of your business, old man," one spat. But Jack didn't flinch. He took a step closer, his eyes hard as steel. When men in uniform cross the line, it becomes everybody's business. The bar's silence was deafening as the standoff grew tense. One officer shoved a hand against Jack's chest, but before things could escalate further, Jack reacted. Years of combat training surged back like second nature. He twisted the officer's arm and pinned him against the bar counter in one swift move. The other officer drew his hand toward his belt, but Jack's glare froze him in place. "Don't even think about it," Jack warned, his voice low but commanding. The twins watched in stunned silence, their eyes wide not from fear, but from recognition. They weren't damsels in distress. They weren't helpless victims. They were FBI agents, deep undercover, and the men Jack had just stood against were corrupt cops they'd been investigating for months. But they couldn't break their cover. Not yet. After a tense few moments, the cops retreated, cursing under their breath as they stormed out of the bar. The crowd let out a breath they didn't know they were holding, and a ripple of applause broke out. Jack turned back toward the twins, shaking his head as if to brush off what he'd done. "You ladies all right?" he asked. One of them smiled faintly, her voice soft yet steady. "Thanks to you. You have no idea what you just stepped into." Jack shrugged. "Doesn't matter. Wrong is wrong. And I don't sit back when people are in danger." Over the next hour, as the bar slowly returned to life, the twins opened up just enough. They told Jack bits of truth wrapped in lies, stories that hinted at danger without revealing who they really were. Jack listened, his protective instinct stirring stronger with every word. He couldn't help but see pieces of his daughter in them, strong but vulnerable, determined but carrying too much weight on their shoulders. As the night drew on, the twins slipped him a number, a quiet assurance that if he ever needed help, he wasn't alone. Jack didn't realize then the magnitude of what he had stepped into. Protecting those women wasn't just a moment, it was the start of something much bigger. Later, alone in his small home, Jack looked at a picture of his daughter and whispered, "I'll always protect you. Always." He didn't know that the same strength that saved his little girl every day had just saved two of the FBI's finest. And in time, his courage would help uncover corruption that reached far beyond that small-town bar. The message lingers as the story closes. True strength isn't about power, it's about standing up when no one else will. Heroes aren't born in headlines, they're made in the quiet choices of ordinary people who decide to do what's right. And if you believe the world needs more stories of courage, kindness, and sacrifice, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it forward. Because sometimes, the stories we tell can inspire the hero waiting inside someone else.